Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's meeting. We're glad you're here, and I don't know how many virtual meetings this is, but we've had several. So before we begin our meeting, I'd like to ask everyone to just take a moment and bow your head for a moment of silent reflection. Amen. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Minges.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Staff proposes that our next Commission business meeting be held next Wednesday, June 3rd at 2 o'clock.
That's fine. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on our utilities agenda, item number 1, docket number 2019-290WS. This item concerns petitions for reconsideration.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Irvin.
The Commission has received a petition for clarification and for rehearing and reconsideration on our ruling in order number 2020-306. These requests came from the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff and also from Blue Granite Water Company. The South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs has also filed a response in support of the Commission's ruling on a 7.46% rate of return on equity, commonly referred to as ROE. Since three issues are raised by both ORS and by Blue Granite in their motions, I'd like to address them one issue at a time and then propose that we decide both as follows. The first issue raised by ORS and Blue Granite is a clarification and reconsideration of the Commission's ruling regarding adjustment number 8 to purchase water and sewer expenses, which includes two parts. 8A is third-party purchase water and sewer treatment deferral, totaling $2,563,596, and 8B is a third-party purchase water and sewer expenses going forward in the amount of $2,324,292, which already reflects the reduction for the non-revenue water limit of 10%. Mr. Chairman, I believe that we should clarify and reconsider and make an accounting adjustment to the total amount of purchased water and sewer treatment deferral as adjusted by ORS and the proposed purchase water and sewer expenses going forward, which is amortized over 5 years. I move that we reconsider and clarify by adopting the total amount of $4,887,888 as proposed by ORS on page 4 of their motion to correct the dollar amount for adjustment number 8 regarding the third-party purchase water and sewer treatment deferral and expenses, and then proceed to allow 1/5 of the amount of $977,578 placed in expenses, with the remainder of $3,910,310 amortized over the remaining years. I move that the Commission deny the request by ORS to remove this item from calculation of rate base, as well as the request by ORS and Blue Granite to otherwise change adjustment 8A and 8B to provide for a resulting pro forma adjustment of $2,837,011. Blue Granite's motion for reconsideration relating to the numerical error in the deferred charges in adjustment 8A has been corrected with this motion, and no further action is needed. Moving to the second issue raised by ORS is the request for clarification and reconsideration of Commission's decision concerning rate case expenses in adjustment 16A. I move that the Commission grant ORS requests for reconsideration and clarification by removing an additional $16,132 from rate case expenses. Blue Granite also requested reconsideration by the Commission of its decision to disallow certain rate case expense and other legal expenses. I move that we deny the company's request, except to the extent that such request is modified by the granting of ORS request therein, which removes an additional $5,377 from rate case expenses for 3 years, which is an additional $16,132 removed from its total rate case expenses. Blue Granite also raised a calculation error in its motion for reconsideration that the Commission should have also removed $16,132, which is also addressed and corrected by this motion. The third issue raised by ORS is that the Commission clarify and reconsider the dollar amount for the company's allowable rent expense that excluded the Greenville office rent expense as well as other rent expenses. Blue Granite also requests this be reconsidered in the rent expense in the amount of $84,685. Both ORS and the company clarified post-hearing and subsequent filings that the annual rent for the Greenville office was not $84,685, testified at the hearing, but was in fact $73,665. The company and ORS failed to break down the company's annual rent expenses so that the Commission could specifically disallow the Greenville office rent expenses of $73,665. Therefore, I move that we grant ORS motion to reconsider and adjust the rent expense to allow rent expense in the amount of $11,174 for other areas than the Greenville office, so that under the motion, the total amount disallowed relating to the Greenville office upfit and rent expenses would now be $579,890, and the only amount allowed is $11,174 for rent expenses associated with the company's Rock Hill office and warehouse, Anderson office, Water Service Corporation Public Storage, and Water Service Corporation office. I further move that we deny Blue Granite's request for reconsideration of the Commission's ruling, denying recovery of the Greenville office rent expense, except as changed herein to allow recovery of other than rent expenses for the Greenville office in the amount of $11,174, which corrects the calculation error which was raised by Blue Granite. With regard to Blue Granite's petition for reconsideration and clarification of specific rulings in Commission Order Number 2020-06, separately set out in Section 2 of the company's motion, I move that the Commission grant the technical typographical change to delete reference on page 128 of the Commission's order to, quote, operative margin, end quote, and insert, quote, the rate base return, quote, the rate base rate of return methodology, end quote. So the new language we will insert, quote, the rate base rate of return methodology, end quote. I further move that we deny all other requests for reconsideration or rehearing by the company or by ORS not specifically addressed in this motion, and I move that we grant the company's request for the Commission to clarify certain rulings or matters in its order as outlined in item Roman numeral 3A, 3B, 3C, and 3D of Commission Order Number 2020-06. And further, I move that the staff make any other appropriate changes needed to effectuate and provide for final order consistent with my motion, as well as to clarify the Commission's order the company to address its I&I issues through testing and reporting the results to the Commission, which must be done prior to its next rate proceeding. I move the Commission retain its ruling for a 7.46% ROE. The revised revenue requirement then is $29,191,874 due to these revised calculations. As a part of my motion, I would request that Blue Granite provide a revised rate schedule to the Commission as modified herein, no later than Monday, June the 8th, close of business. A full formal written order will follow. Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Urban. Commissioners, you've heard Commissioner Urban's motion. Thank you for that motion, Commissioner Urban. Are there questions or comments? Okay. No questions or comments. If not, we'll do the roll call, and as earlier I neglected to do a roll call at the beginning, so this roll call for the vote will additionally count as our roll call for the meeting today. Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Mr. Chairman, I would note that I was a no vote in the original order, and while I still have issues with it, today I will be voting yes for Commissioner Urban's motion, because I do think the matter does not warrant rehearing, and I believe the matter should be disposed of at this time. So I vote aye with Commissioner Urban's motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Belzer.
No.
Commissioner Urban.
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, item number 2, docket number 2019-290-WS. This item concerns the contract between Blue Granite Water Company and Clear Water Solutions, LLC.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Urban.
This is a matter of Blue Granite Clearwater's contract. First, we'd like to thank the Office of Regulatory Staff for furnishing information regarding this contract based on the hearing record in our rate case. That information is helpful. However, I believe that the information furnished is not sufficient for the Commission to make a decision on whether or not to approve the contract at this time. So I move that we carry this item over and allow ORS to furnish additional information, and they have indicated that they need 14 days for discovery to do so. So in order to afford ORS time to forward questions to Blue Granite, I move that we grant a 14-day discovery period from the date of this order, and that we request that the Office of Regulatory Staff seek the following information and provide specific answers to the Commission, including, number 1, why were these contract services not put out to competitive bids from other qualified providers? Number 2, what is and was the financial relationship between or among the parties to the contract, including any affiliates? Number 3, was this truly an arm's length transaction? Number 4, did the ratepayers truly benefit from this contract? And if so, by what amount, and how was that calculated? Number 5, any other related information as may be appropriate as it relates to these topics. ORS should furnish this information to the Commission on or before noon by Monday, June the 15th, 2020. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Urban's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Hamilton,
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield,
Aye.
Commissioner Belzer,
I vote aye.
Commissioner Howard,
Aye.
Commissioner Urban,
Aye.
and I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Chairman, item number 3, docket number 2021E. We have a motion for confidential treatment.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Howard,
Chairman, Intervenors South Carolina Coastal Conservation League and the Southern Alliance of Clean Energy request that the direct testimony and exhibit for Gregory Lander be marked confidential to honor a confidentiality agreement with Duke Energy Progress. Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the request for confidential treatment pending no opposition, that is by June the 1st, 2020. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. You've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Hamilton,
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield,
Aye.
Commissioner Belzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Urban,
Aye.
Commissioner Howard,
Aye.
and I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Chairman, item number 4, docket number 2020-106A. We have a motion for the use of verification in lieu of an affidavit.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Whitfield,
Mr. Chairman, consistent with the Supreme Court's order of April 22nd, 2020, regarding the operation of the trial courts during the coronavirus emergency, Charles L.A. Torini, Esquire, an attorney that regularly appears before this commission, has moved for the use of a verification in lieu of an affidavit when the latter is required by the commission's forms, rules, or regulations. Certain examples of when this substitution would be applicable include applications for Class C certificates, payphone service provider applications, and gross receipt forms. Mr. Chairman, I would note the Office of Regulatory Staff has reviewed this matter and does not object to the motion. So therefore, Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the request subject to review at the time of any modified Supreme Court order and subject to review at any time as determined by the Commission. In granting the motion to allow the use of verification in lieu of an affidavit, the Commission will consider such verification to be legally equivalent to the execution of an affidavit. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. You've heard Commissioner Whitfield's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Belzer,
I vote aye.
Commissioner Urban,
Aye.
Commissioner Howard,
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton,
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield,
Aye.
and I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 5, docket number 2017-33E. We have the filing of the First Amendment to a power purchase agreement.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Belzer,
I move that the commission accept for filing the First Amendment to the purchase power agreement between Duke Energy Progress, LLC and Cherry Blossom Solar, LLC, along with the request for confidential treatment of certain portions of the agreement. So moved.
thank you. You've heard Commissioner Belzer's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Urban,
Aye.
Commissioner Howard,
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton,
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield,
Aye.
Commissioner Belzer,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 6, docket number 2020-129G. We have a natural gas agreement.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Howard.
Mr. Chairman, I move we recommend grant the request for approval of the natural gas agreement for transportation services with firm gas standby between Dominion Energy South Carolina Incorporated and Holy City Lending Services LLC. The Office of Regulatory Staff has reviewed the matter and recommends approval. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Mr. Whitfield.
Aye.
Commissioner Belzer.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 7, docket number 2020-130E, power purchase agreement has been filed.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept for filing the power purchase agreement between Duke Energy LLC and Cherokee Falls Hydroelectric Project LLC. Further, Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the request for confidential treatment of certain portions of the agreement. Duke states that these provisions are commercial, sensitive, and proprietary. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
Commissioner Belzer.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Chairman, that completes the utilities agenda. Turning to our transportation agenda, item number 1, docket number 2020-84T, we have the application for a Class E certificate.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the application of ABA Moving and Storage Incorporated, doing business as 2 men in a truck, for a Class C household goods certificate of public conveyance and necessity. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not. Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
Mr. Belzer.
Aye.
Mr. Irvin.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton.
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Chairman, this next 2 items are requests for extensions of time. Item 2, docket 2008-140A. This is the request of Forest Hills Transfer and Storage for an extension of time.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we grant the request of Forest Hills Transfer and Storage Incorporated for an extension of time until July 31, 2020 to file the 2019 annual report. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not. Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Mr. Belzer.
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Chairman, item 3, also a request for an extension. This is docket number 2020-103T. This is the request of Going Places Transit, LLC.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we grant the request of Going Places Transit LLC for an extension of time until August the 1st, 2020 to comply with Commission rules and regulations. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
Mr. Belzer.
Aye.
Mr. Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Chairman, item number 4, docket number 2020-128T. We have a request for the use of an electronic bill of lading.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Belzer.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the commission approve the request for approval of the use of electronic bill of lading filed on behalf of Upward Endeavors LLC doing business as Two Men and a Truck of Greenville and KB Enterprises LLC doing business as Two Men and a Truck of Columbia. We are advised that a paper copy will be available to the shipper. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Belzer's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Belzer.
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes today's agenda.
Thank you. Is there anything else that needs to come before us? And if not, thank you everyone for participating, and we are adjourned.